Dogpack, welcome, welcome. Are you ready, brother? I'm ready whenever. Okay, I'll phone you over. Here we go.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Yeah. What's your name, by the way?
My name's
Quintio?
Connor. Yeah, Quintio. Yeah,
Okay.
Connor. Cool. So I caught everyone up to speed talking about that. I was able to kind of look this over and be, as critical as I can. So I want to cover a few things, but I think like first off, like the biggest thing that I want to say is that in regard to Jake and like in that entire interview, I have struggled to find outside of like a generic ethos, pathos, logos attack about playing to empathy, but that's like pathetic in regard to this. There's too much corroborating evidence, the fact that he was in videos, the fact that he's willing to talk about it. I don't really agree with a lot of people saying that he was faking that, and obviously you were there. But that's just, I guess, to start off. But to start off with like asking you questions, in regard to the content cop intro and whatnot, what was kind of like your, like, I guess, objective with starting with that?
Well, I don't know. Just pay homage to the king, and I guess do a little. I don't know. You gotta have some kind of intro, I guess.
That's
So we
fair.
just kind of came up with that on the fly after our interview. It was like, I think Jake had the idea of, hey, what if we do a content cop intro? So we did.
That, yeah, I mean, it felt exactly like he had the music and everything. And I think that sounds a lot like exactly how Jake ended up doing that interview, like just trying to keep it light, funny if he could. Cool. Kind of going back to including like the first, like the start of, everything that you've put out, like, the part one. What really motivated you to start bringing all of this to light? Because like you've talked about the fact that you're not doing this for money. You haven't monetized these videos. You didn't go into it starting that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it just kind of became a lot at the company to like. There were people at the company who were very open with me, so I don't want to like name them or anything or
Fair.
allude to who they are about the history and things occurring in the company that are, I guess, unethical. And yeah, internally I pushed back against things, and then obviously I was let go. And I'm not saying that was because I pushed back, but
Sure.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I just kind of felt guilty, and I don't know. I just wanted to make the case to the public, I suppose.
When you've like, you've talked about it in the past, you've brought up that you're not doing this clout, you're not doing this for money. And to some degree, like the criticism that I see there that would be lobbed against you would be you've revealed your face in this situation to like, do the videos as opposed to keeping it faceless and nameless. Cause I mean, you've also like your name being Dawson. So what, how does that end up, benefiting you against going against, doing it for clout, etc.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I did at one point want to do it anonymously, but it just kind of felt weird. Like I even bought a dog mask, which you can see a little bit in the intro of part one. I'm wearing it in the scene where I'm like driving or whatever.
Okay.
So like, and I started recording, and it's like the audio's bad, and then you're like, what the fuck is this? This looks so weird on. It's just optically just weird. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just do it.
Fair enough, fair enough. To surmise, you kind of started with the idea of being anonymous. There's like, that dog mess that you were saying, but the mic sounded shitty, and then to some degree it kind of felt like silly compared to just doing it straight.
Yeah, I might actually have another microphone. Let me check.
For sure. Looks like he's going to grab a different mic here.
Let me try to plug this in.
All good, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's your day been?
Good. How about you?
It's been pretty good, pretty hectic.
Hey, same here, man.
Yeah, I figure this is nothing compared to it. My dog pissed on the carpet. That was the highlight. All right, so great. To continue in, so like you clearly had like a point and focus in the first part, and like as you said in this one that there's gonna end up being 3 parts. Was there a reason for why you did these differently, like the second part compared to the first? Like it seemed like in this one you focused heavily, number one, on Jake, but that's probably because you had the opportunity for that. It was more of a focus of the experience as opposed to like talking about what was faked, what is rigged, those kinds of things. So was there like a reason to go in this order, I guess?
Not really. I mean, the original plan was more to talk about like I had played with the idea of talking about charity, and I recorded a whole thing about that. That's not that I haven't released, and same thing with like crypto, and
Sure.
I have like tons of recorded Discord calls with former employees, but then it's like, well, they want to remain anonymous, so you have to distort their voice, and it's like, I don't know, what's even the point at that point? And then yeah, I just got the DM from Jake, and he was like willing to be on the record, and he's in the videos, and I was like, okay, this is going to be the guy.
I'm not familiar again with your NDAs, anything like that, but would you be able to explain more about what you specifically mean by like the secret CEO I might have missed it, but of course, like not who he is, but just hearing it without, any context, it comes off a bit conspiracy wise.
Yeah, no, I mean, the top executives at the company, they're sort of secret in that, like, you wouldn't find them on LinkedIn or whatever, even if you like know their name and search their name and Mr. Beast, like nothing will come up, which I think is sort of intentional, and that's the case with this guy. That his social media and stuff isn't really in his name. And in fact, you want some breaking news? He just deleted his Instagram.
Did you have it like a photo of it before? That's nuts. So you talked about in the video when you were bringing up the secret CEO, I was like, all right, I don't want you harassing my people anymore. So I'll just, fill you in on part 3. Is there any other like benefit of being open about that stuff? Because from what I understood, you kept part 2 under wraps because of they were waiting on you.
Yeah, I mean, I just to get more testimonials from people because right now I have like corroborating stories from people who don't want to go on the record regarding, that sort of misconduct in the company. And I just feel like, I mean, to be honest, I'm like, I don't, if it wasn't for that, then it would just end at part 2. And I'm like kind of over it. The only reason I'm staying in it is because of all these people in my DMs. And it's like, even then, I would rather maybe hand it off to someone else. I don't know. But I just put that as a call to action to be like, okay, I'm getting a lot of DMs. If you're in a similar position, if you know something.
I'm just trying to make an interpretation that although it's hard because these people want to remain anonymous, the goal is to get those stories out there, whether or not people recognize it, like in the general public, as verifiable evidence. The fact that it's so overwhelming, and as far as I'm concerned, for this sake, it's genuine actual testimony to you, then it feels like there's some sense of obligation to actually get this information out regardless.
Right, I agree with that. The issue is like, what if it's a rumor, and then what if you put it out with like the perpetrator's name or whatever, and it
Mhm.
turns out it's not.
It would discredit the whole thing. That's fair point. Fair point. So we're like talking again about like towards the intro that people would be bothered by like the slow intro. So you did that like, okay, you're not going to believe what happens at the end, like that whole bit. It's hard to, I guess, kind of look at that in any other way than just kind of like spite for people that like if they're going to be complaining about your intro of a video, it feels like maybe they're not there to actually, take in the information that was presented. But it just kind of comes as a bit immature, like responding to hate in a video talking about what is going on and to the depravity that it is. So like, I guess more
Yeah, that's
like,
good.
could you elaborate on it?
No, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, I didn't really intend it to be spiteful. There was like a massive retention drop with my last video, but I think that was also because so much of it was from external links where people just click on it on Reddit and then they're like, "Oh, this is a 53-minute video. I'm gonna exit out."
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I guess there was some legitimate concern that like the start of the video was too slow, and I did want to genuinely let people know that the end is crazy.
Okay. Okay. I guess like yeah, my first thought with that immediately is like, do you want them to like genuinely know something's happening at the ending, like making the entire thing satirical and like is
No.
for irony, But okay, I mean, doing it for retention, that makes sense. I mean, to some degree, it helps it get out into the public more. I guess in my head, the people that aren't that are choosing to click off of the video because it doesn't have a quick enough intro, even in light of what's going on. I don't know if they're the people that are going to end up, I guess, having their mind changed or, actually taking this all into consideration. But
Mhm.
I guess that's just off the dome. Okay. So with this one here. So in this video, Jake, in the interview, he talks about like that hostile vibe is kind of towards the beginning of it. He alleged that like if you were a yes man for Jimmy, or you were, always agreeing with Jimmy that there was potential for like a reward in terms of like either like an actual bonus or, getting more camera time, etc. Was there any of that you were able to notice like in your time there? Not even, you don't have to give specific details, but like in terms of what you felt about it emotionally or like your time there specifically, if you can understand where he's coming from, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a story which sounds made up, which is that my first manager literally said that his strategy was to always align with Jimmy, like in terms of, I guess, like feedback on videos or whatever. Like he never disagreed with Jimmy because he thought that that was the safe move because that meant the only times he was wrong was when Jimmy was also wrong. So he couldn't get mad at him for it. And I feel like that's the definition of being a yes man.
Yeah. No, like straight up. Wow. Okay. You said that was your first manager. Okay. Did you notice anything, I guess, again, back to that question, personally outside of that one manager saying that?
I mean, yeah, I just think it's an essence of yes men.
Sure. It's just the feeling, the tension kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's also like sort of explicitly written on like not posters, but like things on the wall that say, "Put the company first, be coachable, admit your mistakes." Yes, but also just listen and don't question and don't push back.
Yeah, that sounds like straight up like propaganda. Like that's
Yeah,
nuts. Damn. Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, and again, you don't have to, because I understand this is a bit different, but like for yourself, like going forward with all of this, because you said you weren't even planning to do a part three, and now you are. Like specifically in regard to your thoughts on how you think the company is like going to go forward with the response. Like, what do you actually think is going to happen from here on out? I mean, not only for you, but like, do you have any kind of, future sight into what would be happening or occurring?
dude, I've been trying to reach a resolution with them like privately. I've been messaging, Chucky and like people close to Jimmy or whatever, and like they just will not talk to me. So it's like, okay, I'll keep talking about your, I'll keep bringing skeletons out of the closet. But like, I don't know. I saw briefly that there was an internal email that was leaked or whatever about, new training of like sexual harassment and stuff. And it's like, dude, I have a document with like 4 suspects listed who work at the company and like corroborating stories against these people, and they're not reaching out to me to be like who could have been involved, or I don't know. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess on their side, it's like, why would we give any sort of response to the guy that is already like scrutinizing every single thing that comes out? So like, in some ways, it's like they already aren't responding on anything. It would look bad on them to respond to even a small thing in like I guess a verified. I'm not saying that it's right, especially with what you're saying, like what you're alleging the allegations are in regard to them. But I guess like it makes sense in the way that there's a few solid reasons why they wouldn't from a business perspective and whatnot. But I guess like for you yourself, because you're going through all of this, you're talking about, you've had a lawyer, go over this with you, so you're not breaking any laws. But like this blows over, into the third one. Whatever happens in response to all this information getting out. Do you have any like guesses or ideas as to what would happen?
I mean, dude, I just want them to like hear me out and see the evidence I have, and fire the bad apples and take accountability, and then like I don't think it had to get this bad. I don't know why they're sending cease and desist and just like digging the hole deeper.
Yeah, heels in the ground.
Capturing everything. I don't think it's the correct response.
Sure. No, agreed. I mean, being silent on it. Okay, that's all. Like I had like just off the dome what I had kind of written down in regard to everything covered. I'm really interested to see Jake's take as well. I guess, is there like any more that you want to add in regard to your video, or like I guess just any kind of final thoughts?
No, I'm good, but I want you to know, like, I appreciate your coverage. I appreciate also that you're like unbiased. So obviously, like me reaching out to you is like, I don't want you to feel like you have to.
Yes, it sets a precedent for like having bias, and I think to some degree, and I've talked about this already, it means something to me to number one be critical of you in like previous videos, and for you to reach out and still be willing to do an interview with me. That does for me. It means a lot to say I'm okay with just getting into some criticism and responding to it. And I'd rather you have a fair shake at if you're willing to respond to feedback, to have it happen in like a fair way, as opposed to social, assassination. What was it called? Yeah, character assassination. So like, I mean, that is where the bias extends. But like, truly, I just want people to. There's a lot of, we don't have evidence because there's NDAs, because there's a lot of legal things holding people back, and a lot of pressures that are holding people back. Like we just listened to Jake talk about in that interview. I think it's only fair that we just use our brains, kind of like the point you made in regard to the yacht, about whether there was or wasn't a yacht. I think we can use our common sense and allow some dots to connect, because this isn't a court of law, it's the court of public opinion. But it does mean a lot that you're willing to just hit a live and talk about and like answer my questions. So thank you for that.
Of course, man. Reach out to me anytime. I like the content you're doing. I think you're going to be a big YouTuber. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your evening. Try to get some sleep at some point, man. Whew. Okay. Well, there we go.